Hey everybody, welcome to the Think Outside the Blue Box podcast. I'm Anthony Rivera. I'm the lead videographer and editor here at BlueBox Digital, and today I'm being joined virtually by a really good friend of mine, Mr. Alex Peña. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Serial Entrepreneur, Solopreneur.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. You were actually at the beginnings of BlueBox. You actually helped me out a lot with setting everything up, and I look up to you a lot with your business knowledge, because I'll just kind of let you go into it. But what I know, you've started how many businesses?
If we're going, there's a couple I'm not too proud of, but I'd say it's I think I'm on. This is number 6. Yeah.
Number 6.
I was able to sell 3 of the last 2, but 2 of them I kind of walked away from. It just wasn't big enough, and I didn't have enough time to sell it, which is honestly the only reason why I've had so many businesses. I should probably start with that. So I was in the Navy for 10 years, and when I got out was kind of when my whole entrepreneurial journey started. And my wife actually was in the Navy. I met her in the Navy, and because of her, I had to travel around a lot for the 6 years after I got out. And so basically every 3 years we were getting stationed somewhere else, and that was the reason I had to start a new business. So wherever I was at, whatever was going on when we got new orders, I just had to hurry up and find a buyer, and then wherever we moved next, I started the next thing. So I can so it started off in Tampa, Florida. That was my first business. And it was a estate and business liquidation. It was pretty small scale. You remember back then? I think you even got a Bose headset out of the deal. So
yeah,
but yeah, people would
I'm
come
actually
to me
wearing
and
that right now.
Oh, nice!
It's the headphones
look at
I'm
that.
wearing right this second.
Dude, that was a long time ago. Wow. Okay. So people would come to me when they wanted to sell things. It was either a whole house, somebody passed away and they have all this stuff they got to get rid of, or maybe somebody had a collection of things that they wanted to sell online. They just didn't want to go through the hassle of it. And then over time it turned into businesses needing to liquidate large amounts of inventory. So it was just, before you know it, I just started reselling things. And so I got very big into eBay, Amazon, Facebook, Marketplace, OfferUp. Those things were just emerging when this whole thing was starting. So that took off. I did that. That was great. I was able to do that in Tampa, and then we got orders to Jacksonville, Florida. So my goal was to move up there and start up a second location and leave somebody running the first location. But the problem with Jacksonville is it's in Escambia County, or it's next to Escambia County, which is the poorest county in Florida. So there just wasn't a market there. I'm sure if I stuck it in long enough, I could have made something out of it, but I was having people call me to sell like baby clothes and baby toys and like knickknacks, just stuff
just
that really it would take. Yeah, after a while of doing it, I noticed that if an item didn't cost, if I wasn't able to sell it for at least $100, it wasn't really worth it for me to sell for someone, because I was charging 35 to 40% or 35 to 45% commission, depending on the price of the item and a few other factors, But yeah, I made a great go at that. Didn't work out too well in Jacksonville. So I was kind of just going through Craigslist and just online randomly looking for little odds and ends to do while the business picked up. And I ended up coming across an ad for someone that wanted their lawn mowed. They wanted they needed their lawn cut because they were about to move out of their house, and they, the security deposit and all that, they didn't want to lose that. So they posted an ad. They took a picture of the yard. It didn't look too bad. And I had just bought a lawnmower because I was paying our lawn guy, I don't know how much per month. And I told the wife, like, hey, if we buy a lawnmower within X number of months, it'll pay for itself and I can cut the grass. No big deal. I had never done it as a kid, by the way. And so I messaged this lady and I told her, hey, I just bought a lawnmower. I'd love to come cut your grass. Let me know. And she said, great, come on over. She gave me the address. It took me about 45 minutes and I had $60 in my hand. And so I was like, So I went home and I started a little Facebook page and started posting some ads here and there for last minute lawn care. And it just kind of took off, man. People started calling me to come do a little job here, a little job there. And then before you know it was, can you come back every week? Can you come every 2 weeks? And in the beginning, I was a little hesitant to do that because I didn't want to get into a commitment with these people. This was just something I was doing in between, figuring out what I was going to do next. But it never took off. So before you know it, I had a full schedule of people, and I was handling 50, 60 accounts a week by myself in Florida doing lawn care. And it went great. I was able to grow it over 2.5 years to the point where it was bringing in almost $100K a year. And I was able to sell it before we left. So that's when my wife got orders to come here to Washington. And that was clear across the country. So I found someone. I was able to sell it quickly for cash. It's only about 30 grand, but still, for something that I just kind of happened by accident, it wasn't bad, and it gave me some good startup money for when I got to Washington. So yeah, we get here and everything is different, man. The grass is different, the trees are different, the weeds are different, everything is different here. And I was like, what are we gonna do?
It's a different landscape.
Hey, yeah. So I just figured it out. I came here and I set up an LLC from the beginning. Set up all my social media. Started working on my SEO. You know, all the stuff that I had been doing for my prior businesses just to get the phone ringing. And it took off. You know, so 3 years later, I sold it again for a little bit more. This one was $45,000. That's when I went back to school for software engineering. So, and that's kind of how I got into all of this. After I finished my schooling, I didn't want to go get a job just working on code and sitting in front of a computer. I really love business. I love helping businesses. I love what businesses do for me. They're like living, breathing entities. You know, I don't have children, so my business is my child. I take care of it as such. And
yeah,
so,
it's kind of like you create it and then you put it out into the world, and then it kind of goes off and does its own thing. Yeah. I could see that. That's right.
Yeah. And now I look back at like my businesses that I sold. I check in on them every now and then. How are they doing, kind of thing, you know? So now what I'm doing is helping people with technology for small businesses, you know, because with this, a lot of the stuff that I learned, I should be working, for Microsoft or Amazon or some big tech company doing database work or something a little more technical. But I find it really boring, and I don't want to do it all day. I don't want to do that. I need to talk to people. I like being part of the business and stuff like that. So that's when I started Easy Biz Tech, and it started during the pandemic, and mainly because I just saw so many people suffering with having to make this switch to virtual and QR codes, and so many people suffering with. For me, it was like, oh, this is like simple stuff. This is no big deal, but people really needed help with it.
They struggle with it. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started. Yeah, it was. I actually met my first client before I even started this business. He wanted to hire me as an employee, but his business was such a mess. It needed a lot of organization. He needed a lot of systems put in place, and I've just felt at the time that as an employee, I wouldn't be able to serve him as well. You know, I would lose a lot of the, the rights or just the ability to do what I can do. As a contractor versus an employee. So I told him, hey, I got an idea. Why don't I'm going to start a business that does this for business owners, and you're going to be my first client, and this is what I'm going to charge you. You know, what do you think? And he said, great, let's do it. And I worked with him pretty full time for the first 3 or 4 months that I had this business started. And a lot of that was just me figuring out how to help business owners, people that don't understand a lot of this techie stuff, and
how to explain it to them.
They want to succeed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And get them to trust you too, you know, like when I try to explain SEO to business owners, if you've never heard of it and you don't know what it is, it sounds like snake oil. It sounds like I'm trying to take your money, you know? So just being able to explain that and show case studies of prior clients, which now I have. Now I can say, hey, you don't believe any of this? Talk to one of my other clients, man. You know, I'm not trying to take your money. So it's just been a different thing for me to take on. You know, all of my other businesses were B2C. They were client facing. I was selling directly to consumers, where now I'm selling to businesses. And so it is different. I didn't think it would be that different, but it really is. And luckily for me, I've been a business owner now a few times, so I know how to talk to them.
You can relate.
People know when you're trying to sell them something. Yeah, people know when you're just selling them or when you're just genuinely trying to help. So that's usually how my sales calls go, if you want to call them that. People book a 30-minute thing with me, and I literally try to help them as much as I can on that 30-minute call. I don't try to sell anything at all. You know, I figure it sells itself. So if I can make the most use out of that 30 minutes to turn you into a believer and establish some kind of trust, then I'm halfway there. So.
What is it?
What
What is it
now.
about building businesses that attracts you so much, man? Because it seems like all the businesses that you've started is kind of like you find somebody with a need, and then you just kind of build a business around it. What is it about that kind of inspires you?
Yeah. I think a lot of it, I love being self-employed. I like being the superstar employee at a company. You know, everybody at work, anybody who has a job knows that one guy at work who's always going above and beyond. People call him a brown nose or ass kisser kind of thing. That's me, but I'm not doing it for the brown nose, and I'm doing it because I love to excel at what I do. It doesn't matter what it is, you know. It doesn't my marriage, my relationships, it doesn't matter what I do. I like to excel at what I do, and I have found in the past that I had a hard time doing that as an employee. And most of that experience came from the military. You know, you're always being told to stay in your lane, or you're always being told, we do things this way because we've been doing them forever, and that's just the way it is. So
that's just the way it's done. Yeah.
And I have such a hard time swallowing those pills, man. I just can't do it. So I like to be on the precipice of change, of moving the needle forward, actually getting results. You know, like, I like being that person. I like being the one that's responsible for it. I like to get all the credit for it, the acknowledgement. I really enjoy being in that spotlight. I really do. And I used to be a little embarrassed about it. Like, you know, do I sound arrogant or cocky? But I mean, what business owner wouldn't want someone like that in their corner? You know, so I've been doing it for myself all these years. Now I'm doing it for other people. So, and that's what I really love about this, is I'm no longer chasing money. I get to enjoy every client of mine is like a relationship. And when they succeed and they're smiling at the end of the year, like all the Christmas parties I just went to, and they're like, "Oh, thanks, Alex, man. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you." It's like, that's it. I'll take that over the paycheck. You know?
Yeah,
I need the money to pay the bills, but that just makes me feel good as a person. And that's really what drives me now with a lot of the things that I do. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it's important to be passionate about what you do, man. And I'm sure you could see the passion in me and what I'm doing now.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think you would have
You're
helped
just
me.
naturally good at it, though. Yeah, no, I was like, Anthony, because you're just great at this, man. You are so talented, and I knew you needed help with. I couldn't help you with videography. I don't know about editing. I'm not a creative person, but I knew that there was some bits of me that I could lend to you, because I knew you would make it. Like, you already had the skill set. Most people that want to start a business they're selling something that they don't even know how to do yet. I have coaches that try to book meetings with me every day. They want to be a business coach. They want to be my life coach, and you know, halfway through the call, I'm coaching them. So it's like, you need to, you know, this isn't going to work. So.
Yeah, at least for me, man, I did need that push, because you've seen throughout the years, I've started businesses left and right, and it just one failure after the next. And like you said, I knew that I had the skill set, I had the passion for this, I had, you know, like, I knew that I could do the work. I just needed some help on the business side of it, and that's where you kind of came in and kind of guided me, and you gave me a lot of advice on the website.
Even the organizing and the structuring of things internally within a company, most people don't think they need that, you know, because when they start, they have a handful of clients, and of course you can manage it. But once you are actually making money and people are calling you and you're doing things, you know, you have to have some kind of CRM in place, or an ERP, something to keep track of what you're doing and who you're talking to. And otherwise it just turns into a mess.
Gets way out of hand.
And that's what I really like to help businesses with. I get confused a lot for someone who's in the digital marketing space, and I guess I kind of am, because that is part of SEO, and I do help companies with advertising campaigns and you know, running ads, all kinds of stuff, lead generation, all that does rub shoulders with digital marketing. But for me,
it's way more
I'm
than
more
that.
and I do more of the technical side of it. I have freelancers that I use for the creative parts. You know, for blog post writing, I have writers. But when it comes to actually taking what they wrote and putting it on the internet in a way that gets results in terms of SEO, that requires technical know-how, not creativity. So just knowing all the little different things that need to happen and putting them all together, and then showing someone how they can rinse and repeat that, and then master it, and, you know, tweak things here and there, build in little efficiencies. But the goal is to create something that you can build on and scale, so that it doesn't matter how much the phone rings, you can handle it. You know, that's what I like to put in place for businesses. So Some people that I meet, they're not quite ready to work with me yet. They're still figuring out how to even be a business owner. They're still trying to nail down the discipline of it. Like you got to get up in the morning and nobody's going to write you up. Nobody's going to fire you. So, some people are still working on that part. But once you have that figured out and you have something that you can do well and that you want to share with people, that's where I like to take someone and help them build a business. At least from a technological standpoint. They still have to do the stuff. They still have to talk to the customer. They still have to have a certain amount of ethical approach to what they're doing. I can't help them with that, but I can at least build the system that they can rely on to conduct business properly.
The back end,
and transparently and all of that. Yeah.
Is this stuff that you've learned throughout the years of doing stuff yourself, or did you actually have like formal training, like formal sales training at all?
It's a mix of the two. So I come from a self-employed family. My father's owned several businesses. Most of them were jewelry stores years ago when I was teenager. So I'm used to talking to people. I never really had to sell anything. It was just like, hey, can I see that out of the showcase? And I would show it to them, and then you want to buy it? Great. So, but at least the engagement.
You were in that environment.
I kind of was aware of it. But the heat really got turned up. The last 3 years I was in the Navy, I went recruiting, and that is hardcore sales. It was a three month school before.
Doesn't get any harder than that.
Before I even went recruiting. Yeah, this is like you're not taking someone's money. You want their soul, like their life. You're literally convincing them to do something else with the next 4 years of their life, and it's not going to be fun. I mean, it is going to be fun, but it's going to be very difficult. Joining the military is like a job, but there are lots of unpleasant parts to it that that could be a deterrent for a lot of people. So that's where I really learned how to sell at a professional level. Like a lot of the really dirty tricks, a lot of the emotional reciprocity stuff, just a lot of the high pressure tactics of sales that they're effective and they work, but I don't like to use them.
So they taught you that. They taught you all that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I kind of took that when I left the Navy and started my first business. I knew how to basically market myself. I knew how to manage, a client and all of their stuff because we had a CRM so I knew from a very basic level the overall picture of kind of what I needed to make for myself. Every business is different. Every business is going to have tools that are different that lend themselves here and there better than others. So part of what I do as a consultant now is meeting with companies and really drilling down into what they do. What is their flow? What is their process? Where is it broken? And what programs what apps can we use that are going to just alleviate it? What is the simplest app too? Because there's lots of programs and applications out there that can solve your problems, but some of them may be more complex than they need to be. And again, a lot of the small business owners I'm working with are not tech savvy, so I'm helping them make that leap into it's a digital transformation, actually, is what everybody's calling it now. A lot of the services I provide are kind of under that umbrella. But they're trusting me to hold their hand through this transition, and so I want to make sure that the thing that I'm recommending to them is the easiest thing that they can use to solve their problems, and that everybody understands how it works. And there's training involved, but like I said, it's different for every company. Sometimes I get people that come to me that are tech savvy, and they've already got stuff in place. They just need like you, for example, you need. I still have to help you with an integration. You want to integrate a lead generation tool into your CRM, and there's not a thing built for it already, so it needs to be custom made by having one API talk to another. It's doable. It just takes time, but something like that is something I would handle for someone like you who's already tech savvy. You just need something.
But I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do APIs and all that stuff like you do. I mean, I specialize in something, but it's not that.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with outsourcing. Outsourcing simple. Is like.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to business owners, especially starting out.
Yeah, no, and that's another point you bring up too. For a lot of businesses, and I was guilty of it too. For the longest time, you feel like you have to do everything yourself, and you get caught into this mind state. And a lot of it is that if you're really good at doing things, maybe you just don't trust someone else to do it. That was my problem. It was like, well, are you going to do it as good as me? And just being able to let go of that and trust someone else was. It took a lot. It was definitely a level of maturity that I had to reach as an entrepreneur, being able to trust people with that.
That's more going into leadership.
Yeah.
'Cause, to be a solopreneur, then I mean, you just got to worry about yourself. But once you start hiring people, then it's kind of you have to become this leader, this person that people can look up to. But you kind of have to let go a little bit, and like you said, just kind of trust that they're going to do it right.
Yeah, and people are going to make mistakes. You know, you have to spend money to make money, and sometimes you don't get immediate ROI on money you spend. Sometimes there's money you spend and it goes down the drain, but you learned a lesson from it. You know, you got to try someone out. I went through 15 to 20 freelancers before I find the 2 that I have now that I can trust that we can communicate back and forth. I give them the freedom to kind of do whatever they want. You know, if they have ideas, I tell them, you know, feel free to mention it. Nobody wants to be micromanaged, you know, but at the end of the day, things do need to get done a certain way. And so being able to manage that while also giving these people the feeling that they also own their own business, because they're not my employees, they're freelancers. So just trying to protect that for them too, so that they still feel like they own their own business.
And they're valued,
and they're valuable. Right. And so far they are, you know. I'm able to make money, they're able to make money, and I'm able to get amazing results for my customers. And so now I'm in the process of just trying to tweak things and make them more efficient, like my reporting, when I meet monthly with my clients. You know, what are the things that we're going over? Just that whole meeting, just really fine-tuning things now so that I can start to scale. But I just started this business back in March. It's been 9 months now, and most of that 9 months was just spent figuring out how I'm going to exist in this space and actually help people.
It's funny that you say that timeline. What would you say is a good, like, for somebody just starting out a business today, what's a good time frame to get everything up and running? 'Cause I know it took me a while. It took me a while to actually get into the black.
Yeah, no, it can. Some of it is financial. You know, it does cost money to start a business, but not really that much. At least not from a legal standpoint. You know, you need to set up your LLC. You need to get signed up with Secretary of State. You know, get all that stuff in order. You know, you're talking a few $100 there. Depending on what your business is, you might have additional licenses. But most of the things that I started were pretty easy. I just had to go online, say, hey, I'm a landscaper. I've got a landscaping license. You know, figure out what your tax obligations are. Make sure, you know, you're good to go with all of that. If you aren't savvy enough to figure it out yourself online for the state that you live in, just call up an accountant. You know, they charge $100 to $150 an hour for their time. It'd probably be the best $200 or the best 2 hours, you know, money-wise that you spend, because you definitely don't want to get in trouble with Uncle Sam or taxes, like I did. When we moved here, actually, to Washington from Florida. Funny story. In Florida, I'll give you a perfect example of why this is important to spend time figuring this out. So, in Florida, you do not have to collect sales tax for services like landscaping. So I was just charging what I was charging, and that was that. I paid my federal taxes, but never state taxes. When we moved here to Washington, I just assumed it was the same everywhere. But we moved here, and apparently in Washington, you have to collect sales and use tax for services, which I didn't for the first year I was in business. So I was once I figured that out with my accountant, I was forced with a choice. You know, either come up with all of this money and just make it right, or don't pay it and see what happens. And, you know, I obviously wanted to continue to grow this business, and I didn't want to, you know, some letter or something showing up later or find myself in some kind of
legal
criminal,
issue.
Legal issue. So I just paid it, you know, and that was like $15,000. It was basically what I was able to save throughout the year. I just kind of had to give it up because I made one mistake. So yeah, definitely.
That's a very costly mistake.
It is. It is. So definitely figure out your tax obligations and make sure that you're doing that, you know, and maybe from the beginning, any money that you make, just put 30% of it aside, just because, you know, if you don't use it for taxes, you'll use it for something. But,
you got a nice refund, yeah.
Once you've got the money part figured out and the legal part figured out, which is not my specialty, you know, that's kind of where you need to start looking at your strategy. You know, who is your customer? How do you communicate what you do to them? You know, what is your offer? What is, you know, all these little things that are going to not let you waste time talking about what you do and not getting clients from it. So being able to speak effectively about what you do so that it's understood and people are like, oh yeah, I do have that
clicks
problem.
For them.
Yeah. And that's my solution, because a lot of people don't know what the solution is to their problem, especially with technology. If they don't know what they don't know. So So yeah, half of it is just helping people figure out what that strategy is. How are you going to market yourself? Where are you going to spend your time?
It's a lot of trial
figuring
and
all
error,
that out.
man.
And then,
I know, especially for me, my first year was a lot of trial and error. Like I did Google Ads for a while. That was doing okay, but it kind of died down. So I kind of had to shift a little bit and go to Thumbtack, and you just find a way. Mm-hmm. You just trial and error.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good lead generation tools out there, like Thumbtack, Bark. There's tons of them, and every industry has their own. But things like I was mentioning earlier with SEO, that basically, if you are willing to invest in that, and it's not overnight, it's not like going to Thumbtack where instantly you can reply to a lead and it's there. SEO could take months, and this is what I try to explain to people, is that if you just take the time and the money and invest in it, before you know it, you can create your own lead generation, and then people are just calling you. Like what's happened, it's starting to happen for me now after 9 months. Well, I've only been doing my own SEO work for about 4 months now, but the phone is now starting to ring. About once or twice a week I get a call for someone who's got a question about a website that they want to redo or something for their business or something. So it's working. I can tell it's already working. So now I just got to keep it up, and I'm in one of the most competitive industries online. We are the people that help people with
optimize,
being competitive. So yeah, so it is going to be a lot more challenging. But I have a great shot at ranking locally because I've been able to look at all of the companies that do what I do around here online. I've looked at their digital footprint. I've seen the amount of backlinks they have. I can see what they're doing online, and then so now I know what I need to do to be competitive. And so it's just a matter of getting it done. But it needs to happen slowly, naturally, and organically. Google knows when all of a sudden, from 1 month to the next, you've got 100 new backlinks. Like that's a flag.
Yeah.
So what they want to see is what I try to do is mimic or replicate natural, organic online presence. So little by little, people online saying things about you. An article coming out here, an article coming out there. And you can be a little bit aggressive with it, but you definitely don't want to go overboard. And that's when you start getting into the black hat territory, where
where you just pay for backlinks and
and some of it works, some of it doesn't. But Google is getting smarter by the day, so is the algorithm. And as it learns these things, it will penalize you. So you could go from being at the top one day to down, and so. I don't like to do any black hat stuff unless it's a new company. There's some of it you can get away with because it's a new company. It's just getting established. So yeah, let's get a nice, good presence out there. Let's get a few good backlinks to start with. But once it's out there and Google knows about it and they've crawled your site, it's slow and steady wins the race. And it also makes your presence stronger because if you're able to do one or two little black hat tricks to rank to number one, you can come back down just as quickly.
Just as
Whereas
easily,
if it takes if it takes months and years for the algorithm to finally rank you at the number one spot, or at least on the page one, it's going to take a lot for you to get knocked back down. So that's what I try to focus on with people, at least on the SEO side.
Do you like social media too? Social media?
Yeah, a little bit. I've got some SEO packages now that include creating blog posts, posting to social media, posting to Google My Business, and creating a backlink. And there's 3 different packages just depending on the frequency. Do you want this stuff to happen weekly? Do you want it to happen bi-weekly or monthly? And so a lot of the social media stuff, I will get into it. But I kind of rely on the company to provide me with some of the content, the pictures and things like that. So like we were saying before, social media posting is something that's in the digital marketing space. I can help people with that, but what I would prefer to do as a company is set you up with a tool that you can use to feed content into, to automatically schedule your posts, kind of like what we were using with you back when I was helping you. And showing them how to use it.
I think it was later.
It was Hootsuite.
Hootsuite. Yeah, Hootsuite.
Yeah, Hootsuite's another one. Yeah, but just showing them how to do it, and then maybe putting them in touch with someone who can then really manage their social media. So more of a consult when it comes to that. I try to stick to technical services. I don't want people relying on me to put out funny, creative content that's witty. I don't
That's
have
not you.
for it. Yeah. But making sure that it gets posted in the right way, that it gets actually turned into once people actually click on the thing, because because it's worth clicking on, that lead gets sent to the right place, that it's being imported into the CRM properly. You know, the technical mechanics behind social media posting,
that's a good word,
is what I'll get into. Yeah.
Okay.
And even automating a lot of that. A big part of what I do is marketing and just general business automation. So, you know, somebody contacts you, they send you a message on your Facebook. We can set up automated responses depending on what they say. You know, like if they mention this word, let's take them down this path and lead them down this way. And we could even build delays into that so that it actually comes across as like you're talking to a human, because everybody's been using the internet for a while. We all know when we're talking to a bot.
Yeah.
So part of what I like to do is to try to make that seem more natural when you're communicating with some sort of automated bot. And I've got apps and programs that I use that can literally take a user down a number of avenues depending on what they want to do, so that you don't have to sit there and talk to that
all the
person.
research. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This person gets then delivered to the right inbox. With you know exactly how to approach that person. You've collected all the info, because the questions that they're filling out, or the engagement with the bot. So there's lots I can do, and it depends on the business and what they're trying to accomplish. Because a lot of these companies, they don't even know these things exist. So that's really the challenging part of what I do now, is just getting in front of a business and finding out what their problems are. And a lot of them don't even think they have problems. So
yeah, that's the hard part.
It's a weird space, but I'm definitely in it to help people. You know, if I can't make you more money or save you time, I'm not taking your money. Like, I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let's switch and talk about passion versus profit.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I mentioned earlier. Every business that I was doing before, it was all about the money. It was just money. And I see a lot of business owners that are in that rut where they're just doing it for the money, and it can be kind of soul sucking, which, you know, does turn into how you know, like your mental health, how you spend your day, how you come across to your customers. It all spills into all the different parts of your business.
I honestly think that the reason why all of my businesses have failed is because of the lack of passion. Is because once I do get into the grind, I do get balls deep into the business aspect of it, I get kind of intimidated, and it's just not worth it for me. But I think this has been something that I'm truly, truly passionate about, and the profits just kind of come. You know, it's a byproduct of my passion.
Exactly. That's something I tell everybody now. Like, the money is secondary. It is no longer the primary reason that I do things. And ever since I started leading with that, it's been great. You know, because I'm able to be the person that the people are hiring versus trying to be that person. And because I love what I do, I'm just better at it. Like, I don't have to try as hard as other people that are trying to enter this space just for the money.
When you talk about something that you're passionate about, you're not selling. You're just talking about something that you're passionate about. Yeah, and I mean, it is technically selling because you're convincing this other person to give you money, but you know, it's something that you're passionate about. So it's not like this weird off-brand product that you're going to have to try to finagle and maneuver the conversation into, you know, like selling ice to an Eskimo kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. No, it's very true, man. And ever since I started thinking that way, it became easier. I get to enjoy what I do more. Don't get me wrong. I loved working outside. I loved doing landscaping, but it was hard work. And the reason I got up in the morning was to go get that money. And that's fact. So, and it's different from the reason I get up now. You know, I get up now because I don't know. I can't wait to see what happened with the client I'm going to work with the next day.
Nice.
Like, you know, I can't wait for that call. Like, oh my God, Alex, I got this problem. And then guess what? I have that solution. Like, that's it. I feel like Superman for the day, man. I'm done. Now I just got to wait and send the bill, you know? So I definitely enjoy the passion over profit now.
I think it's the process too, man. I enjoy the process, just building and just seeing, like you said, just building my baby. Like BlueBox is my baby. It's my third child, and it is just kind of like, now that I've seen it grown and it's a little bit more mature than it was just a couple of years ago when you helped me. Yeah. You know, it's something to be proud of. You know.
Yeah, and then before you know it, it will have a baby, and that's an employee, you know. And when you can provide livelihood and security and just safety for other people
for
like
someone
that,
else.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
why
get
else
better
do
than
it?
that for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. I guess I wanted to talk to the importance of failure, because I know failure has played a really big part in my journey. But I see it as part of the process, man. Because like I think you said it earlier, everything that you do, even if you fail at it, it's a learning experience. You end up with something that you didn't have before. A little piece of knowledge. It could be the smallest thing, and then in your future journey, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I've already gone through that. Like I know what not to do.
Yeah, and even that takes a certain level of maturity or to be able to look at a failure as a learning experience versus just it's discouraging and taking it as, yeah, I can't do this. What was I thinking? To be able to get up time after time and just do it. You have to teach yourself, and you almost have to enjoy failure. Like, it's not an easy thing to do, but after a while you enjoy it, because once you fail enough and you get on the other side of it, you know it's possible. So that it's like, I think that the term I've heard people use a lot is that you fail forward. When you fail, you're falling on your face, but you're at least falling forward. So when you get back up, you're not in the same place that you were before. You're a little bit forward, right? And it's up to you to decide what you do with that. If that's where you want to check out, then that's fine. But
if you want to take a left turn and go
for
a different route,
right?
That's okay too.
Once I make it though, the feeling it's worth it. It really is, and it's almost impossible to just start something without failing. So you have to be ready for it.
I've always heard the quote, like, the first time you do something is the worst that you're ever going to do at it. So when you fail at it, you're supposed to, because it's the first time you're trying something new. So it just keep doing it, and you're going to get better. It's just human nature. No matter what it is, you just have to find something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, and a lot of people will get off the bus at that point, and that's where like I like to say, I like to say that anybody can start a business, anybody can be an entrepreneur, and anybody can. Really, it is not hard, but it does take a little bit of discipline, and it does take a little bit of that being able to be okay with failure and talk about your failures. I talk about my failures with everybody
all the time.
Anything. I get perspectives from people. Like I am an open book, because the more that I can share with people and get feedback on, I feel like it helps me better assess what I'm doing, and I don't have all the answers. So yeah, just being comfortable with failures is huge. And you'll find that in any kind of entrepreneurial book or whatever that you read or listen to.
Yeah. It's just part of the process. You have to be okay with it.
Yeah, you almost have to look forward to it. Like hope that it doesn't happen, but it's like, it's gonna come. But I can't wait to see what I learn out of it.
Yeah, it's funny, because in the beginning I actually did that a lot. Like I took on bigger projects than I knew that I could handle, and some of them I did fail. Some of them did not look okay, and I had to refund the client. But it was a learning experience.
Either that or what I've done too is I've underbid it, because I just didn't know what I was getting into good enough, and so then you're faced with a choice. What do you do? Do you turn the client away and tell them, hey, sorry, I can't do this, or do you bite the bullet, take a loss, and
make it right,
and do the right thing?
Make it right.
So and I've had to do that many times, and especially in landscaping. I'm looking at a big cleanup, and I'll tell them it's $5,000 when it should have been 10. So guess what? Now
you're out $5,000.
I literally did that job for free. Yeah. I got to pay between paying the employees, paying the dumping fees and everything. I'm left with nothing. But I won't do it again.
You won't do that again? Yep.
So,
damn.
But they make for good stories. They make for great stories, and they make you who you are.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that they make you who you eventually become.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of drives your decision making going forward. So it's like. You literally become a new person with enough failures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, for sure, man. I know you've seen me transform over the years. So.
Yeah. Yeah. We've both seen each other's transformations, and it's a sight to see, man. It's a sight to see, and I'm excited.
Good. Look at us. We're here. We're recording a podcast.
Yeah. Who would have thought back in high school we'd be sitting here recording a podcast?
I know. Actually, remember we started there was a business we started together. I didn't even count that. It was Megs to Gigs, Do you remember that?
Oh my god, I remember that.
Megabyte. This was back when things were still measured in megabytes. We were basically selling like RAM
Before
sticks and
terabytes.
hard drives. Yeah,
Yeah.
and anything we could get from a wholesaler and flip on eBay until that became
Megs to gigs. Wow.
Yeah.
That was one of my spectacular failures. Hey, but hey, if it wasn't
we
for
had fun
all
doing
of
it.
that, yeah, if it wasn't for all that, I wouldn't be
I don't
where I
even
am
think
today. So
I think I was like 16 and you had just turned 18. That was the only way we were able to legally do it. So
you need somebody old enough to run a business.
yeah.
I think we've always had that entrepreneurial spirit between the two of us,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Just starting businesses and just doing our own thing.
Yeah, for me, it really took off when I left the Navy. I had always been doing something on the side while I was in the Navy. But when I got out, it was like, here we go, full-time gig now.
It's a real deal now. What is it about a job that you don't think I know I've heard you say like you don't think you'd ever have another job again. Why is that?
So I technically do have a job now. I work part-time for a company here in Seattle that does virtual events. So I help them with a lot of their technical stuff. But like there are so many things that could be done differently, in my opinion, like the way that the information gets disseminated, the way that we bring things back and forth from the client, the way I find out information. Like sometimes I show up to an event, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing yet, and those are things that I would like to fix internally, but as a part-time employee, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to carry on smartly and, hope that I get to
Just
keep
do
my
what
job.
do what I'm told to do, and
Yeah. So I make too much noise. I might upset the wrong person or step on the wrong toe, and just having to navigate that I don't like it.
it's because you have been an entrepreneur. You have been somebody's boss before. It's like you see it from a different perspective.
And if I see a problem, I want to fix it. That's I've been called a fixer by many people. I'm the kind of person, if you come to me, you had a bad day, I'm not going to hug you and let you cry on my shoulder. I'm going to ask you, well, why was it? Let's fix it. What can we do differently?
Let's figure this out.
Yeah. So I just immediately go to that place, and because it's who I am, and so I feel like as an employee, I really can't be myself. I'm filling a seat and I'm earning a paycheck, hopefully adding some value, and it's just not good enough for me. Not saying that there's not a company out there where I can't experience those things, but I don't want to have to go find it. I prefer for them to come to me, which like with what I'm doing now, eventually they will. I'm sure I'm going to work with a company long enough. It's already happened, I've already had.
I was going to say it's already happening.
And I just, they want me to be part of their team. They want to bring me on board, and it's like, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm enjoying what I'm doing now, but I'll continue to be there for them. It's just a personal choice thing for me, man.
That's actually happened to me. I've actually done some TV commercials for Cox Media, and they have offered me a job so many times, but it's like I got my own thing going, so I'll help you wherever I can. Hire me and outsource it, and I'll go out there, I'll shoot it, and I'll do everything. But I don't think I could do the employee thing right now.
Not yet, man. I still got at least another. Maybe in 10 more years, because I know there's going to come a certain time where I don't want to be the person responsible for having to manage everything and all the moving pieces. It's a big
responsibility, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I know eventually there is a job out there for me at a company that will appreciate what I can offer when I'm ready to just kind of take things down a notch, and not be in charge of so much. But I enjoy it right now. It keeps me alive. It fuels me. So I'm just going to keep doing it as long as it works.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you're a serial entrepreneur, bro. Like if this doesn't work out, you'll figure out another way to make money.
Yeah, I'll find something else. I mean, this business itself already has quite a few things built into it. Not just the helping people with their websites and the SEO, but the automation piece of it. I also offer tech support. I have some companies that just have me on call, and any of the employees can reach out to me, schedule a 30-minute session to go over anything that they're having trouble with. And then I also get into merchant services. So credit card processing, that's a whole nother piece of,
yeah.
there's businesses that just do that. And then I do a lot of affiliate marketing as well. I have a lot of products that I use that are awesome that I recommend to people that, I get a little kickback when people use it. So it has a lot of moving pieces, and any one of those could become its own thing. But I'm doing it all kind of under one roof right now. My goal is to really be that guy, that
one-stop
reliable resource for a small business, and definitely small business, because once you get to the medium and the larger size companies, they have their own marketing department. That's when you kind of need somebody a little more permanent. Someone that you can afford to pay an $80,000 salary to. But small businesses don't have that.
Right.
But that's not to say that they don't need to pick up that phone every now and then because they have a problem that they need solved. And that's what I'm trying to do, is really be a one-stop, like you said, a one-stop shop for the small business owner, so that they can focus on what they're doing.
What's been your number one inspiration, man? I know, like, I read a lot of books, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I know I think you got me onto Gary Vee. What's been your main thing that's kept you going, man? Like the thing that just kind of drives you.
Yeah, for a while there was Gary Vee. Definitely, I just liked his vibrato. I liked the way he kind of comes out at people and isn't afraid to just say the thing. Because I'm a lot like that. I won't sugarcoat things, and I don't like to dance around my client for the sake of it. I'd rather be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I loved that about him. So yeah, he was on my radar for a while. And there's the big ones, there's the Grant Cardones and all of these people, but it's kind of become really commercialized now. Even with Gary Vee, all these people are focused on making their little programs, and they're all kind of competing against each other now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was actually on Clubhouse the other day listening to Grant Cardone and some other millionaire just duke it out, literally in public in front of all these people, and it was like, I mean, it doesn't get any realer than that, but it's like, it can go, it can get too big, I guess, and that's kind of what's happened. But I like finding the people like me that are building something, they're talking about it as they build it, and it's real. Once you get big enough to like the Gary V's and the Grant Cardones of the world, you can literally afford anything. You can afford the best marketing agency, the best automation engineer. You can. It's different then. The rules are different.
Yeah. Then it does, like you said, it does become commercialized because they're trying to appeal to a wider audience, and they still do help people like one-on-one, but it's more like get my face in front of as many eyeballs as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the shoes you got me, man. Thank you again for those.
Yeah. I got the same pair, man. I still wear them. Yep.
I wear them. They have
what are they? The dirt and clouds.
It's literally just dirt and clouds, and then on the bottom it says hustle. What is it? His saying.
The hustle, the grind, the damn.
Yeah, we'll get it.
One of them says the mission, the macro, the motive.
Nice. Yeah.
Or the motive, the macro.
Dude, I wear those.
Yeah,
all
I really
time,
like
them.
Yeah, he was the first kind of guy to just get in bed with K-Swiss, get a shoe line going. Like, he was just doing all the things and just not really. He wasn't really selling. He was just kind of going on, just being himself, and he's just a contagious kind of guy.
People get attracted to that. Have you seen his new stuff? The new stuff he's doing with NFTs.
Oh yeah. I'm actually on his Discord. He's got it's called V Friends or
V Friends. Yeah,
a whole Discord on it. Yeah, man. It's that's kind of where NFTs is a space that I'm slowly learning about. But yeah, I kind of fell off the wagon there, man. I don't have the time to follow all these people and everything they're doing, but yeah, NFT space is blowing up huge. That's another thing I've been now with this whole metaverse talk. The metaverse is this name everybody's dropping now. I've started kind of getting into that too now to help companies with more collaborating in virtual spaces, and they don't know a clue about VR. So just kind of bringing them into that world and training a team, on how to use these things so they can work remotely is another thing I've started getting into. So yeah,
dude, that's the future.
We're changing, man. the world is changing, and my goal is just to be the guy there to help businesses move with that change and stay current and present.
That takes extra effort on your part too, man, because you have to stay current.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm constantly reading articles, watching videos. Any new product that comes out, any new app, I'm in there. I get the trial version. I explore it, because I got to know about all these things so that when I come across a client that's got a need, I got the solution for them. So like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. So I have to try to know as much as I can. I'm going to the CES 2020 here next week, the Consumer Electronics Show. Last month I was there for what was it? The Amazon AWS event, and just getting to listen to a lot of the stuff that people are using the Amazon Web Services for. It's stuff I would have never even thought of. So it's a lot.
Amazon is a lot more than a lot more than an online retailer.
Yeah, actually, the online retail is a very small part of their thing. Actually, they're big into the cloud services. That is their baby. That's where their bread and butter is.
Yes, because they developed that AWS for themselves, to run Amazon.com and all the services that they needed, and it just it was the best thing, and everybody, they like sell it now.
Yep. You've got cloud storage now. You've got cloud computing now for processing power, and you've got cloud security for all the cybersecurity.
Yeah,
kind of security
you can even get like AWS certifications now. Like you can get certified.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. I am doing it now. I am taking the course. I'm chipping away at it. Yeah. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And so companies would need to, any company that has their own server set up that they're paying for, their own physical server, maybe they're leasing it or renting it or something. It's just cheaper because it not only AWS, you're basically renting the cloud space, but it'll scale with your company, with the traffic, with all that. You're not just paying this flat fee the whole time. It'll kind of throttle you pay as you need it, basically. So it's just smarter, and it's cheaper for companies, and this way they don't have the expense of upgrading a server after so many years or having to manage their security. It's just one less thing, so you're just getting it off your plate. And they've done a really good job about it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. I know Microsoft came out with their
setting it up.
What is it, Azure? Their cloud
Azure
platform.
DevOps,
Yeah. But it doesn't compete with AWS.
Not yet. I mean, these things are always changing, Google's a big player. AWS just had that huge outage. What was it? It was actually right after the AWS event in Vegas.
Yeah.
They had the huge outage. I had almost every one of my clients call me that day. One of them called me because Vonage wasn't working. The other one called me their God, I can't remember what it was. But all these things weren't working, and I was like, I bet you it's AWS. So I just told, hey, do a quick Google search, see if it's, Vonage, AWS. Sure enough, boom, that was it. So there are a lot of people, which is kind of scary, man, because, you just flipped the switch on us one day. That's, a
lot of power over the internet itself.
Yeah, imagine if everything just gets turned off one day. I mean, I know a lot of companies had to have lost money that day. They lost clients that day. It was actually a couple of days. It was down for a couple of days. So,
but I think that's why everybody's moving to the Web3. I don't know if you've done any research on that, and I personally haven't done any research on that much. But I know Web3 is all decentralized, so there won't be this everybody's all in the same basket kind of thing. It's kind of like if one service goes down, it doesn't affect anybody else because it's all peer to peer. So
yeah, and you have a redundancies built in and stuff.
Yeah, dude, that's wild, man.
Yeah, it's changing, man. It's constantly changing.
What was it? The one that just went out? Facebook and Instagram went down for like 2 days. That was crazy. The internet almost broke.
Yeah, seriously. We don't realize how much. We don't realize how much we rely on these things.
We depend, dude. There was some businesses. I saw some business owners on there that were complaining because they were only doing business on Facebook or only doing business on Instagram, and it's like when something like that happened, they got taken down. They couldn't do business for 3 days, and it's like Yeah, it's scary, dude.
Yeah.
You got to diversify.
Same thing with lead generation. You know, there's companies that, let's say you rely specifically on a thumbtack or one source for your leads, and let's say something happens, you get kicked off that platform. You know, now what? So
Yeah.
Just helping companies, even if they can't afford or don't want to make the change now, at least giving them the knowledge. I enjoy doing, at least educating them on the solution, so that it's something they can think about the day, even if they don't do it with me. At least it happens, so that
at least it's in the back of their mind.
End up going out of business, or I feel better knowing that I at least passed on that information. So, and that's what I do with any of my free consultations. Anybody can book a 30-minute thing with me, and we can talk about anything you want at all. I'll provide as much value as I can during that call.
And I can be one of your testimonials, man. Like, you helped me even before even before you started this business. So I owe a lot of BlueBox to you.
No worries, man.
You're my business consultant.
That was in the beginning too, just figuring out, okay, well, you know, and that's why I was willing to help you, is to just let me figure out how I can help you, because I was figuring out how to take everything that I knew how to do and just what I know, and how do I help you, like, you know, because most businesses aren't just going to hand you the keys and do whatever you want, you know. It's being able to navigate that properly and in a way that everybody's comfortable and nobody's losing rankings. At the end of the day, my goal is to save someone time or make them money, and make them money. And that's really what technology is doing for us. It's helping us save money, or save time, make more money.
I honestly believe, man, that we're living in an age that the regular 9-to-5 is kind of dying out, bro. Like, I honestly think that being an entrepreneur, or at least being a sole proprietor, just doing your own thing, I think that's the future, bro. Because I see these young guys on TikTok. They're like, they literally, that's all they do is post shit on TikTok, and they're making millions of dollars. So it's so easy right now to make technology work for you, and there's no better time to do it than now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and even in the crypto and the NFT space, it's there are cryptocurrencies now and tokens that you can hold that are earning in the hundreds of thousands percentage APY.
Yeah.
300,000 APY. Just put $1 into it
in 1 year.
Like, you know, it is ridiculous what people are doing online with these. And I'm into it a little bit. I'm holding some crypto and NFTs, but I'm not into it like some of these people are.
Some people go all in. Yeah. Some people are betting really hard
on it.
And I know it's going to be a huge part of our future, because right now we're only using NFTs for like little GIFs and little videos and stuff. But NFTs is so much more than that.
It's all novelty. Man. Yeah.
It's kind of like in the beginning of the internet. YouTube was, when YouTube first came out, it was filled with like cat videos and like funny fail videos and shit like that. And then it evolved into something way bigger than that. I honestly think NFT is gonna and crypto in the next decade. It's gonna be a huge part of everyone's lives, whether they want or whether they realize it or not.
Oh yeah, no, dude, it's already happening. People are already buying up digital or virtual real estate, like on the side of highways, so they can put virtual billboards when AR comes to be.
Yeah.
They're already purchasing virtual real estate in our physical
in the
world.
Real world, yeah. So when artificial artificial reality is a thing, augmented reality. Yeah, when that's really a thing.
And that's next year, dude.
Yeah.
Facebook already announced next year they're dropping a set of glasses. I think Google too said they were dropping a set. So
Niantic, the people who made Pokemon Go, they already have a map of the world, you know, digitally. So it's like these huge metaverse companies are just buying their data and then just creating virtual assets on top of the real world. I think that's fascinating, dude. Some people are afraid of that.
Yeah.
Afraid to change.
People are afraid of either what they don't know or what they can't participate
They don't understand.
In, you know? So and I totally get that. Especially if there's a whole economy being born right under your nose, you know.
Yep.
I kind of want to be a part of that.
Yeah. And that's basically
I
what's
actually
happening.
just
It's
started
a whole economy is being built
oh,
right
for
before
real?
our eyes, and it's gonna replace
a culture, an economy.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother world. You know, just how we are our people in the physical world. We've got our friends, we've got our hobbies and stuff we do, and then we have our lives online that we live with other people and other hobbies and other things that we do. We're going to have now a third segment of life that we live virtually, which will be different, and it'll come with its own slew of things. But it's happening, and IoT is another big thing, the Internet of Things. I just started mining, I don't know if you've heard of Helium. Helium is a network of RF antennas, basically, that supports IoT devices. So if you've got a dog with a collar on it to track its location, it doesn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi as long as it's being picked up by a local IoT antenna. And so I've got an antenna set up here at the house, and it's mining. It basically lends itself to the Helium network, and I get paid in
per transaction
in a token.
Yeah,
right. I get paid in, I believe it's HNTs is the token that I get from it, and so I'm not getting paid in cash, but I'm getting paid in tokens, and that token has
you can exchange it for actual US dollars or whatever you want. Yeah,
but I'm leaving it in the crypto right now because it's just climbing. Like it's just taking off. It's has no sign of slowing down. So, you know, the dollar or the coin that I get today is going to be, you know, a coin and a half in a month or two. So I'm just leaving it in crypto until things start to kind of either level off, or if I start hearing bad things about it, then I'll go ahead and convert it over. But
dude, it's crazy you mentioned
free
mining
money,
because it's back in the day, I don't remember, but I don't think you remember, but I used to mine Bitcoin at the house.
Oh yeah.
And I lost it, man. I don't know where that is.
Oh yeah.
So
lots of people, man.
I could have hundreds of thousands of dollars somewhere that I just can't access.
Dude, that happened to so many people. I remember seeing something about Bitcoin years ago, and this was back when it was like 10 or 20 bucks, because I remember throwing $50 at it. I was like, I got $50, you know,
why not?
I'll throw it at this. And I don't remember, but it was like 1 or 2 Bitcoin, and I was like, oh, you know, good for me kind of thing. And then that was back in the day before exchanges, where you had to actually have a physical wallet. And I remember it was a file on my computer, but this was like 5 computers ago. So it was like, I don't have that anymore. And there was no Google backup back then. So yeah. So just imagine how much crypto has been lost because of stuff like that, and how much gets lost when people are, because now with all these other Litecoins and other cryptos, you sometimes there's coins in order to buy them, like the stuff that I'm into now, where you need to first you need to get a hold of some Bitcoin. Then you need to turn that Bitcoin into another coin in order to buy the other token. So you're going 2 or 3 layers deep on the backs of other currencies. And if you send one crypto to another wallet on a different network, it's gone forever. It just disappears into the ether. So between that and people not transferring things properly because they don't understand how the wallets and the exchanges work together, because there's so many. There's just tons of crypto out there in the ether.
Just lost forever.
Yeah,
and they do burns too, man. Every year they burn some Bitcoin to kind of, and all cryptos do that, but they actually burn some of their supply to increase the value of the current supply. So it's like, I mean, they're treating it like an actual currency. I honestly think
it's being used that way, man.
Yeah. No, I honestly think that that's the reason why Facebook wanted to create their own crypto, is because of the metaverse, and they want to build their own economy, dude. It's almost like they're building their own country virtually.
Yeah.
That's
Not only
wild,
that,
man.
but between the amount of time it takes to transfer money between financial institutions and the money associated with it, it just makes more sense from a business perspective, you know. So a lot of companies, and there's a lot of SaaS companies that are building their technology on the back of a cryptocurrency just because it lends itself to feeless transactions, you know. So now
peer to peer, everything. There's no intermediaries.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, these companies, whenever you transfer money from one bank to another, you know why it takes 3 days? Is because they put it in a bond, or they put it on the stock market, and they make money from your transfer for those 3 days before they even let the other person see it. So it's like these peer-to-peer cryptos, dude, it's going to get rid of that. It's going to get rid of that.
I tell you, man, the banksters, like between the housing crisis and just all of the greed, man, from the banks, I honestly can't wait to see them just either be consumed by crypto or they're going to have to get on board with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like even a mortgage. Most people still don't know that with a mortgage, after 30 years, you actually pay for your house 3 times. Like,
yeah.
You know, and the banks are supposed to be our friends, you know, American Dream, all that crap. Come on, man. So the banks are one of the most sinister organizations. And not only that, but we had to bail them out. So now it's like, anyway, I really cannot wait to see the banks be drowned by crypto. So, but
it's happening.
I think it was Bank of America. Yeah, Bank of America actually, I think, was the first one recently to announce that they now have a cryptocurrency division. So, because most banks, they don't even say that word in meetings, or, you know, don't talk about it. We don't want to know anything. It doesn't exist.
That's crazy, man. I know there's some companies that are doing mortgages themselves, like the contract on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is so much more.
It's going to happen, man.
Yeah. That we're going to be living on the blockchain regardless, you know, regardless of what happens. And by you becoming a miner, you're now one of those blocks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
right now, it's paying out the equivalent of about $1,000 a month, and that's just because of our area. Because you get paid out based on
like how many transactions you process locally.
Like how many IoT devices you have the potential to support. And a lot of that has to do with how high you can get your antenna in the air, you know. So a lot of people, if they just put the little box on their desk in their office and it's got a little antenna sticking out just like a router, you know, you might be able to help the few blocks around you. But the one that I have here, I put it 30 feet in the air. So I think I'm getting like 50, 60, 70 miles around me that I'm able to support. So yeah, when I log into the app, it's from 0 to 1 basically. And I'm at 1. I'm maxed out, so it can't be any more efficient. So whatever the max payout is per day that they allow, I'm getting it for this antenna.
Nice.
And I did this with a buddy of mine. He's actually got 5 other ones set up at different people's houses. So, and this one is the one that's performing the best so far. But yeah, just little stuff like this. You know, it's people like me that are deciding to build it. You know, it's the new frontier, you know?
Yeah. Right now is the Wild West, and I've said that before.
Yeah.
Like, it's the Wild West, everybody's 5G, just out there.
Yeah, people are getting paid to set up their own 5G antennas, you know? And then Verizon or whoever will just pay you to use the antenna. Verizon's not out there building all these things. Like, we're doing it. We're doing it. So, it's insane.
Yeah, it's mostly because 5G is short range. It's not like LTE, so you kind of have to have a shit ton of antennas everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's faster, but same thing with your Wi-Fi. You know, your 2.4 gigahertz versus
and your 5 gigahertz.
Like, yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
You're not going to get as much range. You have to be a lot closer. Like, it'll be faster with 5 gigahertz
when you're close to an antenna. Yeah. But that's why they're having to expand their network quite a bit. Like, you'll see them now, bro. Like, you'll go walking down the sidewalk and you'll see 5G antennas, just not even up really high. It's like really like within touching distance.
They're building them into like trees and stuff, and they're like painting them all camouflage, and you know, like
they're everywhere. There's so many of them that people would complain. They would say, "No, this is an eyesore." But you want 5G, so you're gonna have to. So, Alex, where can people find your stuff, man, online?
So you can visit me, my website. It's easybiz.tech. Easy spelled the right way, biz spelled the wrong way, and .tech, TECH. That's pretty much it. I've got all my services on there. There's a link for you to schedule a 30-minute consult with me if you want. My phone number's on there. You know, you can reach me however you want. I'm also on all the big social media networks, Easy Biz Tech. We usually...
all together, Easy Biz Tech?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for joining me, dude. And you know, our conversations are always worth listening to. So I'm glad that we're doing this.
Yeah, man. I'm already looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, let's do it. You're going to become a regular on this podcast. So anyway, if you want to follow along, we're available on all the podcasting channels, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much everywhere that you can find podcasts. We're actually on YouTube as well, youtube.blueboxdigital.com. If you want to be on the podcast, if you want to be sitting here with me or virtually like Alex is today, reach out. It's info@blueboxdigital.com. Just say, hey, this is what I do. I'd love to be on your podcast. And we need guests. So let us know or reach out. And until next time, this has been Think Outside the Blue Box. I'm Anthony Rivera, and we'll see you in the next one.